the Minnesota Vikings hire Brian Flores as defensive coordinator. Sorry, I'm too excited. I'm mostly excited because now we don't have to. It seemed like Avero went away, and then it was like it's going to be Pettin. Like all of us Viking fans, that's just how we are. That's where
because Flores. It would have been a good chance Flores takes that Arizona job, which
he didn't even go to the second.
Yeah, you finish your thought, and then I got one on I think like my reasoning as to why all this stuff went down, but
went down the way.
I interrupted you. You go ahead and finish your thought.
So I guess it really just comes down to like just everything that was going on. Avero picking the Carolina Panthers. It just seemed like, all right, we're going to be stuck with Pettin, and us Viking fans, we're just kind of like that where, our minds go to probably the worst case scenario. Pettin's, it wasn't like that bad, I guess, but no fan wanted it. And after Avero didn't pick us, it was like, all right, we got Flores. And not just that, Flores, the Broncos were kind of, Sean Payton was doing that thing. All the Viking fans were hating on Sean Payton or whatever. And then Sean Payton wanted Flores, and now we got Flores. So that makes it even a little bit sweeter. So what's your point that you want to get across?
Well, first off, let's shout out some of the viewers here. Music and the Misery. Appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in again.
Yes. The Music and the Misery. We're bringing him on this channel, on this live stream here soon. So
for sure. Justin, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate it. Flores didn't want to deal with Murray. That very well could be a point. At this point, I'm not sure. JD,
let's go.
Appreciate it. Thanks for hopping in. But yeah, so my thing with Avero, I think obviously when you look at the two defenses side by side, you have a lot more to work with in Carolina. So him making that move, I understand, going to be much easier for him to get a head coaching job if that defense performs well, which, with the talent he has over there, I'm sure it will. Arizona, maybe Murray was part of the issue going there. Arizona, here's the thing. If Flores comes here, right, and this defense is even just if it jumps up to in the top 15, top 20, then that's going to be a huge improvement already. And if he can do that with this defense, then that's only going to help him in a head coaching spot. And obviously with Arizona, you're not going to have a quarterback next year, starting the season, at least with Murray out. They're going to get rid of Hopkins. So he'd be going into that with already behind the eight ball. And with the way that the NFL is these days, if he goes in there and struggles for a couple seasons, as he's still getting used to Kyler Murray and that type of stuff after one season, who knows? It could be a quick out for him there. And then 2 head coaching gigs that didn't last very long isn't a good look for anybody. So his thing here could be, I'll go a young head coach, a young nucleus young nucleus or in certain parts, but his defense, it's going to be young. We've already talked about it. There's going to be a lot of people there's a lot of changes that are coming. And I think, and that's got to be part of the interview process had to be, what direction will we take this defense? Like, here's what we have. Here's what we think we're going to get rid of. We'll build through the draft. Like, here's what we think we're going to do. Obviously, Flores wouldn't come into a job like this with a defense that was as bad as ours was last year without some sort of what's the plan? What is our plan going to be going the next season? And now the next step, now that we have the coordinator, is what do you do? Like, what kind of defense do you play? Because that's going to help you decide who you might keep. Like, I think depending on the type of defense we decide to stick with, it might be the difference between keeping Zadarius Smith or keeping Danielle Hunter. Yeah. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll kind of see, but I honestly, Flores, though, it's a great hire. Obviously, the guys work with 2 of the best head coaches in NFL history in Belichick and Mike Tomlin. He's been a head coach already, been a defensive guy. So, man, I love the hire. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, under Bill Belichick.
Belichick. Defense, please. Top 15 is good enough with me. I agree. Great take. And we just need a wide receiver partner for JJ. Bring back the David Dix wanker. Before we hopped on here, I floated the idea out there, but maybe bringing in Keenan Allen since he's going to get cut. But I'm sure he's going to cost. 30 years old. He might cost a little bit, and he's primarily a slot guy. So I don't know if we really need another type of guy like that. I'd like to see if get a deep threat, but bring in. If we could find a way to bring in Keenan Allen, man, hell yeah.
Yeah. But no, Brian Flores, man. Like you said, working under Belichick, we've talked about this before. Belichick they didn't really have a defensive coordinator when he was there, but he was the defensive play caller for the Patriots. So obviously, which helped him get that head coaching job for Miami, a Miami team that I think ranked like last his first year as defensive coordinator or head coach. They ranked last in the NFL for defense, and then they moved like halfway up his second year, and then almost to the like top 5 his last year in Miami, where I believe they either just missed playoffs or they made playoffs. They made a significant improvement, and he was a good head coach, but obviously they had all the shit that was going on in the background or whatever, and it's ultimately they ended up going in a different direction. But there's a reason why he's sought after as a head coach still. And you mentioned maybe it is just a pit stop for him, and there's a good chance it is. Hopefully,
If he
you kind of have to hope it is, because he did such a good job as our defensive coordinator that next year everybody's going to want
right,
to have him. But I also want to
absolutely.
bring up, and this is actually
Thanks for
what I
hopping in,
saw a
Paul.
tweet from Joe Spinoza. Yeah, guys, actually, let me jump in here. Yeah, of course, running this Justin Jefferson rookie card, just like we do on every live show. All you have to do is hashtag skol in the comments. Super easy. Hashtag skol. We'll run it at the end of the show. But yeah, one thing that Joe Spinoza mentioned, and I just kind of looked into it real quick, is the policy that was enacted in 2020. Clubs that develop a diverse employee who is hired in the position of a primary football executive or a head coach at another club will receive a draft choice compensation in the form of compensatory draft picks in the 3rd round in each of the next 2 drafts. So if he comes here and it's a pit stop and he goes head coach somewhere else, we will get draft compensation for Brian Flores. So it's like a positive. If he comes, obviously, if he does a really good job, let's go, JD. Let's go. Skol,
I mean,
skol, skol, skol,
only
skol.
one
Forget
entry is
that,
allowed, but
by the way. Just keep it coming. Keep it coming.
yeah, keep the comments going.
Jim Sal, what's going on, Jim Sal? Thanks for jumping in, man. But yeah, dude. So that's the thing is, obviously it'll suck if he does a really fantastic job and we have to let him go. But man, you give me a 3rd round pick, and it said in back-to-back drafts. I don't know how true that part is, but I'm taking it every single time.
Top multiple entries.
Thought multiple entries. Hey, we like all the hashtag skulls we can get in here.
Absolutely. But yeah, now, like I said, I am. Let's see, Flores is that dude happy with the hire? Definitely. I mean, I thought he was the guy. I thought he was the kind of the guy from the get go, but apparently he wasn't. Obviously with the Avero stuff, but then now the picture of Kwesi and Flores and Mobile for the Senior Bowl chit chatting. It all makes a little more sense now.
Well,
I
it
guess
makes sense.
it was
Well, I like
always
it
in
because
the cards.
there's people who were not completely on the Flores board right when the news dropped that we were going to interview him. But I think it really came down to when it was like, fuck, all it is Flores or Pettin. I think everybody's like, let's get Flores. Let's get Flores. So
Yeah,
I think there's not a Viking. I'd be surprised if there's a Viking fan out there who
right.
isn't happy about this one. Which
But
I
I
didn't
think
this happened, so I didn't give enough time to look deeper into it.
But I
But
think the thing that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that he's aggressive with his play calls on defense, and people love playing for him. I mean, unless you're Tua, but for the most part, defensive guys absolutely love playing for him. So
I was one. Speaking of that, I think it's time we're gonna get Mark, the music and misery on right now. Actually, I'm gonna send you your link and we'll have you do that and see what your thoughts are now, especially
let's hop
since
into this screen now.
you
So it's
kind of
not
had a change of mind here. Let's see here. I'll send that
yeah.
to you. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna bring on the music of misery. If anyone else in this chat, eventually, when we do these shows, if anyone wants to pop in and have a few words and give your opinion on any of this stuff, just let us know. We'll send you a link and you can hop in for sure.
But you have to be subscribed first, otherwise we
Well,
don't
you have to
care.
be
I'm kidding.
subscribed first. You have to be subscribed for. That's number one rule. You're supposed to give that out for free, dude.
Right.
Even though,
But
it is
I'm
what it is.
incredibly curious. Well, just for
I'll
when he
send
gets
to you,
in here,
misery.
we'll just leave it here because otherwise it gets too awkward. With
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I keep pushing
I'm
it
not a huge
back
fan
every
of that.
time you push it down.
But yeah, now I'm just curious to
pumped.
see what kind of defense we're gonna run, because like that's the next step. So then that helps you decide like who, like I said before, who stays, who goes, what positions you really need to focus on in the draft. Because if we do decide to go 3-4, like I mentioned before, I just don't think that. I think you're not giving a fair shake to Danielle Hunter if you keep him in a 3-4 unless you find a way to use him.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do what we did last year, then I don't know. I think you need to find a way to get him. I mean, and if you're his agent, I think you push to get him on a 4-3 team because that's when he shines. So I don't know.
Exactly, Paul. Exactly.
That would be my thing. I mean, because if you can get like a first, maybe even a first or maybe a second round pick for him,
Yeah.
I do it because again, it's not like I said, not fair to him to be in the 3-4 again. And I think if Za'Darius can stay healthy, he showed us last year he can do it. So
Yeah, if I'm the defensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, head coach, whatever it is, I think I don't know, man. I think I would have to. It's just I feel like Danielle Hunter's like the best pure talent on that defense.
right.
So it's hard to not go from that. But I'm gonna let Mark in right now.
Cool.
What's going on, Mark?
Oh, is your mic on?
It's all right. It's all right. We got to go through this stuff here. Quasi KLC Flores best ever. If anything, go through your settings on here. Go to your audio, and then it will have your mic and speaker. Sometimes it's weird like that, so just go into that, and maybe you can change it to whatever your mic is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use my hey.
You're good. You're good.
There we go.
Yeah, apparently this mic doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
We'll just use the webcam one. It's all good.
Perfect.
As long as you guys can hear me.
Yeah, man.
Gotcha.
So what's going on, Mark? All this talking with you on Instagram. We're gonna talk to you in person about the Vikings.
I know, man. It's exciting. I mean, as we were saying, like the Flores thing, I was not 100% on board with it. Like, when it was first announced. I mean, not that I think he's a bad coach, but I was like totally on board with like the younger coach aspect. Go for someone younger.
Right.
Was really big on Evero and Desai, and neither one of them decided to come this way. But still excited for Flores, man.
Yeah, and I do think just what's in the cupboard in that defense in Carolina was definitely probably what drew Evero in that direction. So obviously their offense questionable right now, just with the quarterback situation being the way it is. But that defense got some young up and coming stars on it. So I 100% get it from his standpoint. But I think Flores, and he doesn't need to make this a top 10 defense. I think if he makes it if he gets even inside the top 20,
that would be a lot of help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to call it now. I see us in top 15 next year.
15?
Yeah.
So like what?
Because
go ahead.
Casey. It's you. Casey.
What kind of defense do you think he's going to run here? Because I mean, I heard he's been 3-4 and 4-3 throughout his career. So that's kind of where I think, like I said, like I've said a couple times already, that's where I think this whole thing starts is what does he decide to do from that perspective?
I mean, I guess it depends on who we keep in free agency. Because I mean, if we're keeping and I know you guys have talked about it before, and I think I've talked about it in the chat there. If he's going to keep, Danielle, I mean, even if he keeps, Za'Darius, I mean, they definitely run better in a 4-3. Like that, and they Kendricks too. I was reading something the other day. It was talking about like players on defense that had heavy decline, and it's literally everybody that was really affected by the switch to the 3-4. So like corners weren't as bad, were not hit as bad. I mean, it was questionable play here and there. Safety, same thing, but it was like linebackers, defensive line, and our defensive ends. They were hit the hardest in how they were playing, slip ups and things like that. Just not being as true to form as they were. It also put a lot of heavy pressure on them because like Smith and Hunter are both players that are used to just doing the pass rush, working the line. They're not used to having to drop back in coverage and do extra movement there. So bigger hits on their stamina and playability. So
yeah, I thought that was crazy to me when I saw how much Danielle Hunter and Za'Darius had to drop back in pass coverage. Like that's just like that's not that was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. Yeah. I just think when we finally saw them let Harrison Smith be that hand in the dirt type pass rusher, that's when you saw his numbers take the jump that they did. And I don't know. I think if you're going to put him in a defense where he's going to be a stand-up outside guy, or he's going to, have to be an inside guy or something, like I just don't think it's fair to his career to have him, and something he just doesn't. At least after one season, nobody like you mentioned, I felt like nobody was really comfortable in that. It was such a just a swift change from you guys had played in a 4-3 defense for the last 8 seasons. Yeah. Well, now in one off season, we expect you to completely flip your game into a 3-4, which requires players to do a bunch of different things. So
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I just and now I don't know. Do you? I guess if you have a lot of carryover and you keep a lot of these guys, then do you switch them again, Like I think if
you switching
they
back to
decide to get rid of a
4-3.
lot of the veterans and draft and bring in some new guys,
Right.
then I think it's an open book because you can do whatever you want, and
Right.
the veterans you do keep, they've been in the game long enough to know how to keep switch back and forth a little bit. So
especially switch back to something they've been doing for, like you said, 8 years, and it'll be crazy, man. I mean, the whole it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm assuming we'll find out pretty quickly if it's going to be 4-3 or 3-4.
I would guess his press conference
yeah, because after that, I mean, a lot of the decisions we make for free agency is going to be based on if we're 3-4 or 4-3, and especially like even Kendrick's contract. Like right before we were going to come on here, we were literally going to talk about free agents and all that stuff. That was the whole thing was going to be about. But obviously, with this news, you have to talk about this. But now once we get that, it'll be just a lot easier to dive into those free agents and those potential vets that are on the block. Because Kendricks, I don't know,
he's still in contract.
And I know if we cut him, we get we save the most amount of cap than any of the players. But if we switch back to a 4-3, would it be worth having him on the team for, especially making like a restructuring his contract and keeping him on the team? Because we did see a drop off from him last year, but was it the 4-3? Because for $6 million a year, maybe he lasts for a little bit more, $6 to $8 million a year, I still think he could potentially be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, like I was actually looking at, because obviously before the news dropped, that's what I knew you guys were talking about, the free agent stuff. And I mean, really, as far as defense side, like we're really only losing Peterson if he doesn't stay, and then we have to worry about Tomlinson if he's going to stay or not. Which, I mean, we have big guys that we could fill. We can also address that in the draft. Same thing with cornerback. We got a lot of young talent that really didn't get to showcase, and a lot of talent. I think they're predicting Cam Smith is going to be our pick in the draft. Which I don't know enough about his tape to really kind of speak to that or not. I haven't really got a chance to look at it, but I see like I think 3 or 4 different mock drafts. He's he's the pick that we take in the first round right off the rip. Everyone's going for him. So I mean, if it depends on what they do. I mean, if he switches to 4-3, I mean, I could see us restructuring a lot of contracts to try to work things out, because there's definitely a ton of ways to do it. And I mean, we're still going to have a lot of players that are going to walk, like a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But like I was talking about with a guy at work today. It's like, I mean, I definitely understand taking a corner, but I'm kind of tired of taking corners. I mean, and I get it. We don't have many great ones on the team right now. A lot of, young guys. I would like to see us keep Duke Shelley around if possible. I think it's a strong possibility we could. And then obviously I think the hope is that you see the growth from Booth and Caleb Evans. And then obviously Cam Dantzler still in the fold. I know he's been in and out, up and down throughout his entire career, but you have a guy that knows what he's doing out there. So, I mean, I'm down for taking a corner, and I still think we should. But I'd like to, I mean, I've talked about it before on here, that I would like to see us take like that impact defensive lineman that we just kind of seem to have been missing for the last few seasons here. But it'll be, I don't know. Now there's so much to think about, and so much speculation now that the defensive coordinator search is finally over.
I know.
And that's so nice. I'm excited to get into actually having stuff to like talk about player wise, and just like, who's the coach going to be,
Especially on the side of the ball that matters the most going to the next year. I mean, on offense, we already know what the offense is. We can add that second wide receiver, which would be really nice for the offense, but there's not going to be much difference on there. But our defense could look completely different, specifically when we decide what kind of defense we're going to have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I agree with you, Casey, about Duke Shelley. I mean, he played great for us coming in, his first year with us. I do think he's a little undersized for some of the people that they put him on, and that, if anything, stands to how well he played. Because they were putting him on guys that were like easily a foot over him, or twice his size. Yeah, he was on Knox for a couple plays against Buffalo. I forget. He was also covering. I forget what receiver it was, but he easily had like almost a foot over Shelley, and he was bigger than him too, and he was still jumping, like right in his face, taking him down. He held him to I think only 2 or 3 catches the entire game. So I mean, it's a testament to how well he played and what he could do. So I mean, he would be a great addition to keep.
Yeah, definitely. And like speaking of what you said about being undersized, like this comment here, like let Shelley and Booth be the starters. I mean, they're both a little small. So I mean, maybe one of them in the slot if that's what you're going to do, but I just don't know about having them both be starters at outside corner.
I mean, if they can play well, we got a lot of. They're really young. I mean, if we go in there with them as our cornerbacks, I'd be a little bit worried starting right out of the gate. But I don't know. Like Shelley, like we've talked about Shelley before on here, which I think there's no question he did a fantastic job. There's no question that I hope that we re-sign him. Because is he under contract or is he a free agent?
I believe he's a free agent.
I think he is.
Dude, Shelley, he's still under contract.
He is under contract.
At least according to this tracker.
I believe he is, because when I looked up the free agents, he wasn't on there.
He was I think he's still on his rookie contract from the Bears.
Oh,
okay.
Nice. Nano Joe, thanks for jumping in. Let the D be young and have some learning pains next year. Probably means we lose more games, which means a better shot at Caleb Williams in 2024 draft.
Dude, that's what I like. Hey, I like that. A couple things here. Hey,
I'd rather not suck though. I'd rather not lose more games next season.
Yeah. I have a whole strategy. Juan Snow, that's a video game name. What's up, Sam? Yeah, what up, Nano? We're giving away the Justin Jefferson rookie card. Hashtag skol in the comment. That's all you got to do to have a chance to win this for all the people that have got in recently. No, I know. I don't want to suck. There's no way we can suck that bad.
And I think that was one of the things that could have been one of the selling points to Flores as well. It's like, you can't get much worse.
On the defense thing. Yeah. It's like, dude, you literally, if you can bring us halfway, if you have the confidence to bring us halfway, it'll be a massive improvement for this team because we have, and especially from a talent standpoint, we have one of the best offenses in the league, in my opinion, especially if somehow we find that another wide receiver. That's why it's like you are on a wide receiver, because that's the thing is if we were to get a wide receiver in the draft, or if we can find like a wide receiver 1B or even like a somewhat of a high-end wide receiver 2, I think that one player gives us a best chance to win next season compared to any other single player, just because we would be riding on our offense. Unless Brian Flores can come in here and really, bring us in the middle of the pack of that on our defense.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the way our offense played this past year in comparison to like the year before, like Zimmer's last year going into this year with Kevin, I mean, it was obviously a big difference. I mean, obviously defense played a little bit better this year, but we were still considered such a horrible defense in comparison to the Zimmer years. But like, if our offense plays equally as good as it did this year, and then we have a defense that steps up and can keep teams from, staying in the game, that right there is the difference in our play next year. A defense that can actually, prevent, and we don't have these blowout games like we had against the Cowboys or the Eagles, and
every time
these close heart attacks.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what was so weird about last year. It's like close and we'd win, or when we lost, we just got our asses whooped.
I mean, odds are we if we have a top 20 defense, we beat the Giants. Like I don't have I don't have a question in my mind about that.
Yeah,
that game wouldn't have went the way it did. We wouldn't have had the runs by either Jones or by Barkley. It wouldn't have happened the way it did.
For sure.
And get them hashtags in the skol 6-shooter. What is it? 6-shooter Nation Gaming. Hashtag skol. Hashtag skol Nation. I don't think will do the job. Hashtag skol if you want a chance to win this card.
And the thing about like the offense is it was like the offense was still good, and I felt like it can be better. Like with more consistency from Kevin O'Connell's play calling.
Right.
And if we get and a big thing, Jamie, I know you mentioned it. Like I mean, Hawkinson came in. He was like that second guy in the receiving room, but he's your tight end. So unless you're like Travis Kelce or you're like a young rookie quarterback, because I think you see a lot of those younger quarterbacks lean on the big tight ends.
Right.
But like I still think this team is missing, and I mean I think everybody feels the same way. This team is missing a legitimate number 2 wide receiver with. Thielen, obviously, we've talked about the age thing. We've talked about Osborne and not being as consistent as we'd like. So I think for this offense to take that next step, which would also help the defense out, if we could just – because there were times where in the middle of games we just couldn't sustain a drive, and the defense was out on the field, and we all know what happens when the defense spends too much time on the field. So, this offense is missing just a couple small pieces to really – and growth from Kevin O'Connell as a play caller to really just bring this offense to a whole nother level. And then –
and we're talking like at the top of the league level. Like we're talking top. I would say last year, what would you rank us? Would you say we're top 5 for offense? Maybe not quite.
What do the numbers show? I guess like what? Because I don't know if I'd quite. I think there was too many lulls in the
too.
middle of games to be a top 5.
Right.
We were 12th and 14th.
12th and
14th in points, 12th in yards.
Okay.
And
So,
from a talent
top 15.
From a talent standpoint, like I feel comfortable saying like top 5, but for whatever reason we had like the lulls in the middle of the games. I don't know why, but I think if we were to get that, if we could somehow get a receiver on the other side of Justin Jefferson, especially since we do have TJ Hawkinson, that's huge. Like having TJ going into next season with a guy like TJ Hawkinson, especially if we get another wide receiver, is such a luxury. Like not everybody has that tight end. And you mentioned Kelsey and stuff. Speaking of Hawkinson, he had I know it's flag football and Pro Bowl, but he had a fantastic.
He was great.
Yeah, what the hell was Kirk's movement in that game that he's had?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. That one play where he booked out on the corner
and gave
I'm
to Justin Jefferson.
Me and my wife. My wife looks at me and she goes, "Oh, he remembered how to run." And I went, "Oh yeah, it's only been like however many seasons we've had Kirk as a quarterback, and he remembers to run in the Pro Bowl."
Dude, I was gonna say like flag football seems like the perfect environment for Kirk Cousins to have his best game.
Hey, and like Eli Manning said, it's like when we were down by the 6 points going into that one, like he was my guy. I wanted Kirk to go in there because that's what he did all season long. Let's see, maybe instead of a wide receiver 2, get another wide receiver 1. I'd be perfectly fine if we could pull up what the Bengals did and get 2 wide receiver 1s to deal with for the next 4.
Let's go get Higgins. Let's go bring Higgins over here.
Yeah, right. Higgins, that's not going to work out. Higgins is going to go get some wide receiver.
Keenan Allen, Higgins. And I'll take a chance on a wide receiver.
So deserving for T. Higgins as well with how well he's. What was he, a 2nd round pick by them?
Yeah,
out of Clemson.
Yeah,
yep, 2nd round pick.
Deep threat wide receiver. Agreed. Could have had Jameson Williams. Cam gets an F for that trade. Yeah, I would have loved Jameson Williams. I was a big fan of his going into the draft. I mean, the speed is undeniable, and I don't take a lot of what happened last season. He was coming off an ACL tear, so I think the guy's going to be. Fantastic. Skol,
let's go.
Top 5 offensive feeling wasn't so slow and could get open. He had the audacity to be mad. Yeah. Osborne is fine, and I think that's exactly right. Osborne is fine. I just don't.
Receiver 3.
There's not. He didn't show me enough to.
He didn't. We were hoping for that bump up to wide receiver 2. He didn't show that. At the end of the year, we saw we saw what he can do, and it might not have been all his fault for the other season, but he was pretty inconsistent throughout the season. He just really didn't meet our expectations. I'm not convinced he's going to be able to kind of be that wide receiver 2. And what we really want is that wide receiver 1B,
right?
Like we see with the and with the Eagles, Mahomes, I guess, doesn't need even a wide receiver 1, but most teams do if they want to get that far.
Right. KJ couldn't get open either until you found a way that he was probably towards the end of the season, middle of the season, inconsistent with wide receiver 2 and 3. Yeah. 100%. And like I just also feel like, I mean, a lot of people pointed out he couldn't get separation, and you kind of just felt like Kirk didn't necessarily trust him if he was covered. Kirk, except for the last play of the season, would just chuck it up to JJ whenever he needed to. Sometimes even
when it came down to the NFC game.
Then
he didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every game besides that. But Hawkinson, he'll throw it to Hawkinson.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's so funny because right before that game, I would mention like the most unappreciative move with the thing with the Hawkinson trade was Kirk Cousins' connection with Hawkinson and his confidence in throwing to Hawkinson, because Kirk Cousins seems to have problems with that with a lot of wide receivers. And it even was like that with JJ for a while. This year was a big step forward. And, he made me eat my words, because then we go in that game. He trusts Hawkinson a little bit too much. And it bit us in the ass on that last one.
Trusted KJ more last year than he did this year. Yeah. And again, like me and Jamie talked about before, maybe it was an issue like a thing with play calling. Like I know Kevin O'Connell came in thinking like JJ is going to be what Cooper Kupp was to the Rams last year. So maybe it was too much trying to focus the offense around JJ, which I don't know if that's even a thing.
He kind of stepped up to the plate though.
He did. All the games that we were losing or we got our ass whooped, there was at some point in the game, like, why are we not getting the ball in Justin Jefferson's hands? Like every single time we were getting our ass whooped, it just kept bringing up. Even that Giants game in the first half, it was Justin Jefferson over 100 yards, I believe. And then the second half, he had like 2 catches or something like that. It's like, why did we go away from getting the ball in Justin Jefferson's hand? Like, if we're not getting it into his hands enough, then we should just do whatever we can for him to touch the balls. I don't care if it's like screens or little slants or whatever. If we go away from that, and like you said, it'll be interesting to see how KOC goes into next season. It is going to be his second year as head coach, and his second year is being like the main offensive play caller. And hopefully we do see progress from him. And that alone, it helps the middle of the game lulls.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was thinking about something the other day, and I wanted to, because I knew I was coming on with you guys, I wanted to actually propose it to you. So we know like the biggest issue with our cap is because of everything that's happened with Kirk. You know, the way his contract was set up and everything. Do you think that going into this offseason, he would ever consider doing like a Brady contract situation?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I just think
I wish he would, just because
like get that championship, restructure his contract so it's team friendly, and free up like a ton of cap space.
Yeah, I wish he would. The only reason why I say I don't think he would is just because just how his career has went with the money. Like he's the first quarterback of all time, first quarterback ever to get fully guaranteed. So it's like I don't know where his mind is at completely with that. Like is he 100% worried about winning Super Bowls or championships like Tom Brady, or is he care a little bit more to make that money side of it?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's where I've leaned like with it, is that he's more worried about that he got that paycheck than helping the team out and everything. Because you think of up to now how much money, based on the fact of what was guaranteed and what's been paid to him, he's already made a ton of money, like shit ton of money. I mean, so like he knows that he's probably in his last year or so of his contract. Why not restructure it down, play the last year or two at a decent lower pay rate, be able to have money for bring in a big free agent, for that either wide receiver 2 or that defensive line, and then having extra cap space for the few picks that we have. That's a huge option that he could have, and then that gives him his ring, and then he can drop out.
And we have to consider now Justin Jefferson's upcoming contract as well. Yeah. And him is like, all right, give him all the money he wants, guaranteed. I don't care. But yeah, man. I wish Kirk was going to be that kind of quarterback, but I don't think I see that from him. So I don't know. I'm hoping. I know that Kwesi and the guys above him hopefully can figure out how to move all that stuff around and keep the guys we want to keep, and hopefully still be able to get some players in free agency, because there is some good ones. There's not a lot of wide receivers in this one, but I know we like Payne from Washington for that defensive tackle spot. That would be huge if we could just fill some of those spots before the draft. I think that'd be big for us.
Yeah, but it's all gonna come down to what money we have, and that's all gonna be predicated on what do we do with the older vets on the defensive side of the ball. But I could see a very defensive heavy draft coming up. I mean, which I don't think is a surprise. Or
yeah, I don't think
it happened just with how piss poor this defense was, and just I don't know. I think the writing's on the wall that we're gonna see a lot of these guys be not here next season. It's gonna be it'll be interesting. Entirely new
defense. 3-4. I definitely see a lot of those vets being gone compared to the 4-3. That's pretty obvious, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And if we do switch it to 4-3, who we decide to keep around. Because that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people like, all right, we got all these vets. Like, all right, let's just start fresh. But if we go into the season with just straight up young players on our defense, obviously we can't do much worse than we did last year, which we said the year before that. But there is a possibility without these vets that our defense is just not that good, because we have a lot of unproven. Like all the players outside of our vets are pretty unproven, like Asamoah's, Caleb Evans.
But also our defense with the vets wasn't very good either.
Yeah. So it's
hadn't been for a few seasons.
Well, Kendricks had a solid season last season.
Kendricks and Smith were great last year. Yeah. I mean, even like we still had Barr last year. Even he played well. Which got him the contract in Dallas. I think it was it 3 seasons ago that we got that brand new rookie class in, and we sent away Rhodes and a few other players, and then we had like almost our entire defense get injured, so all the rookies were playing.
Yeah.
I think that was the year. Alexander, I think, was still new on the team, and we had a few other ones, and we were like, that was like Zimmer's worst defensive year, I think, ever out of the whole time. And
definitely.
It's definitely not the best thing, probably, if we have too young of a team going into the year.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. We have to fill those. If we do get rid of these vets, like we're going to have to fill those spots with with other probably younger vets, obviously, but definitely other vets. Like we have too much unknown talent, I guess, as far as young
but
players go.
here's which is true. But here's the way I look at that. Like, would you rather like, I don't know, would you rather go into like, I don't know, would you rather go into a movie and know the entire story and know the end, or go see a movie that's like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but it's different and I'm excited to go watch this.
Sometimes I do like that. That's how I feel about a franchise quarterback. I would take that chance every single year for a franchise quarterback.
But I mean, but drafting and building a defense isn't weighted as heavily as drafting a quarterback.
For sure.
And again, which is why we talked about it last time we were on, that if Kwesi isn't in love with anybody this early, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough sell. It's a tough thing to do because then obviously, like I said before, the Wilfs have shown that they're very patient. Like Rick Spielman got 6 quarterbacks. Like if you not draft picks, but if you look at it, you got a chance at 6 quarterbacks basically.
Yeah, we went through a lot under him
for sure. And he made big moves to get them, most of them. So
what Kirk, Bradford.
Yep, made the trade for Bradford, Teddy, Christian Ponder, because Ponder, he was technically
that was his first. That was like one of his first drafts.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he wasn't. I think he was assistant GM or something like that, or he wasn't like the full GM on Ponders. I don't think.
I thought that was his first year as being official GM.
I could be wrong.
I see a comment rolling in here that I will bring up because this also was. Don't forget Donovan McNabb.
Oh yeah, I forgot Josh and what's his name? Josh Freeman. Man, there's so much.
Or maybe this one, the
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre.
Shooter Nation Gaming, Brett Favre. But yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if the Wilfs are looking at this team saying Kirk Cousins keeps us competitive, right? I mean, love him or hate him, at the end of the day, we're always at least in the playoff picture, which I know isn't. I'm not saying that's a good thing because we all want to win a Super Bowl. I get that.
Yeah.
But like the Wilfs are looking at it saying like he keeps us there. He can put butts in seats. Like. He's controversial, yes, just with the way he plays, but we know we're going to be there. So you're telling me, so he'd be like crazy. So you're telling me that you want to give that up for some unproven thing. It's just, and I get it. Like you got to take a swing. Like the Chiefs did it to an extent with Mahomes. Like they still had Smith who was playing, Alex Smith was pretty much Kirk Cousins, efficient, didn't take any huge risks, and the team was always competitive. So it's like, yeah. So it's a tough sell because a lot of GMs are afraid. You have to take a swing on a quarterback.
You can't be afraid, dude.
It's different. Like if you're pick 1 or 2, then you kind of have to take one and you have to be right. Otherwise, your career, your job is going to be pretty short lived in that location that you're at. Where Kwesi is, at least he could sell it as like, I know we have other needs, but I really like this guy. We're taking him late in the first round. We're not giving up, and we still have picks 2 through whatever to build the rest of the team. So here's why I like this guy. But picking a quarterback is very dangerous, especially for certain teams. But again, with how the Wilfs have been patient, maybe Kwesi's got different ideas. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what goes on. I mean, I'm totally for taking quarterback every season, no matter what round it is. Someone to bring in because you never know. Like first round quarterbacks, not so much. But
first round, I would do for first round quarterbacks. Maybe not every year. No. You'd have to take the chance because how often, once in a while you find that Russell Wilson in third round,
right? Yeah,
or Tom Brady or
Brock Purdy in the 7th.
Yeah, Brock Purdy in the 7th. When you're really lucky, that's kind of stuff that pisses me off. Like Brock, you guys got Trey Lance already, and you get Brock Purdy or whatever.
And they're keeping the 2 of them. They're getting rid of Garoppolo.
I suppose they kind of have.
Unless they make a strong push for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, they could have traded Lance and got some draft picks.
Yeah,
right.
But they kind of
gave up a ton for McCaffrey.
Yeah. Which was obviously they didn't win the Super Bowl, but man, he went on that team and changed that offense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
With Brock Purdy, I think they beat the Eagles, and I think they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Like if he just didn't have that injury. Yeah. Potentially. Eagles are a good team. We don't want them to be, but they're a good team.
Right.
But no, I don't know. The first, obviously, highest talent consistently are first round picks and top Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I mean, it goes on and on and on. You don't really see that after the first round. Jalen Hurts was the second round, but you don't really see it very often. And that's what we've been kind of like. Kellen Mond in the third round was our highest pick in I don't even know how long it was. When was our last? Probably Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
First round quarterback.
First round.
Yep.
Yeah. And otherwise we had like Nate Stanley or whatever, who was like a 7th rounder, and just a bunch of late
Browning was 6 or 7.
Browning. So
I
it's like
think
you're not
Heineke
really
is somewhere
giving it
around
a
there.
strong chance with those kind of picks, But it'll be interesting to see what Kwesi does. Obviously, nothing this year. Kirk Cousins is 100% our quarterback, unless the 49ers really did somehow give us an offer we can't refuse or something like that. But yeah. How about, so we're going about 45 minutes. Let's do this Justin Jefferson rookie card giveaway again. The Minnesota Vikings hire Brian Flores. That's huge for us. We got a guy that a lot of people want as a head coach. So hopefully he comes in and turns our defense around. And then if he leaves, we get some picks out of it. So, kind of a win-win situation.
Right. And it is really tough to talk substance right now because we don't know what this defense is going to look like under.
Right.
So I think really until we get that press conference, until it comes up and they tell us what they're going to do defensively, it's going to be tough to talk substance, players who's staying, who's going, that type of stuff. So
definitely. So again, guys, Justin Jefferson rookie card, giving it away. Hashtag skol in the comments. That's what all you got to do to enter. The only other thing we ask is for you to subscribe to our channel. No, like the video too. Like the video and subscribe to our channel, and you can win this Justin Jefferson rookie card. But yeah, Mark, any last thoughts on the Justin Flores hire?
Brian Flores.
Flores.
What did I say?
Justin Flores.
Justin Jefferson, Brian
What's
Flores.
funny is I have a friend that's Justin Flores. Oh, really? He's arrested.
He's like, wait, my buddy Justin Flores got the job.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just excited for it. I know you guys are as well. I think a lot of us are. I just want to see, where it goes. I mean, I think once we find out, like we were saying, is it going to be the 4-3 or the 3-4? What is he looking to do as far as moves? I mean, I'm sure he's going to throw an input as far as who he wants to try to keep and try to work that out with Kwesi. And then, I'm just looking to see him bring that aggression that we know he has for a defense to us, and just watch him start mauling people.
If there was one thing I saw that we needed last year, if I could pick one thing from that defense, I wish I would have saw different. It was that aggressiveness from the defense, and it was like, is it scheme? Is it players? I don't know, but hopefully Flores comes in and fixes that, because I think that immediately would change our defense completely.
Absolutely. Six shooter nation gaming. Absolutely. We're all excited. Let's go.
All right, let's run this thing. There's 10 entries. That might be the highest one so far.
Yeah, it's
there. Boom, let's go. Names, all the names.
Hey.
Sam. Dang, Sam won it. Sam, I know how to get a hold of you. Thanks everybody for joining. Brian Flores, not Justin Flores, Brian Flores, our defensive coordinator, and the future top 10 defense.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Jamie, any last thoughts before we hop off here?
That's it for me.
All right,
Mark. Thank you so much for hopping on, man. We'll definitely have you come on more often.
Hey,
great.
JD, we do these every live stream. So keep joining, keep commenting #skol, and it's rock and roll. Last few comments.
Subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications for our videos, our live streams. Like you said, we give away our Justin Jefferson rookie cards or other rookie cards. I got more cards. On all
I got my Kirk up on the ledge here.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark even got his Kirk Cousins that he won. I got some other cool stuff. I got a Paul Krause autograph card coming in that I don't know when to do it, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, everybody, thanks again for joining. Brian Flores, super excited. Now we can really get into the meat of this offseason.
Yep.
I mean, Super Bowl on Sunday, and then that's it. We move on and get ready for next season. Draft stuff coming up. It's gonna be a good time. A lot of football stuff coming up, and
let's go Chiefs.
The defensive coordinator
let's go Chiefs.
Was Chiefs fan for a day.
Yeah, for sure. But the defensive coordinator is obviously the biggest domino that needed to fall before we could really move forward, and that's where we're at now. 6-Shooter Nation Gaming. Thank you all for the show. Awesome.
Thanks,
show.
Brother. Appreciate it.
Everybody joining. So yeah. So until next time on GG Sports Podcast, thanks for joining, and see you then.
Skol Vikes.
Skol.